Alrighty, so what we're going to be going over now is just how I use TradingView, and then of course how you're going to be using TradingView. So we'll start from the absolute basics, and we'll go through the colors, go through the tools, and then we'll go through how to kind of layer those onto your chart to create the top-down analysis that we love to do. Alright, so let's jump straight in. So first off, this is my chart, okay? Now, to a lot of people, it can be overwhelming. What I'm doing right now is just right-clicking and resetting the chart. And that will give you just a nice look. So if you ever find yourself zoomed in, right click, press restart chart view. You can also move up and down with this. So you click and hold here, and then you move like this down the bottom here. All right. So that's how you kind of get around. Obviously just a point and click. Alrighty. So your chart will look very different to mine. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is you want to double click the candlesticks, and then you can start changing the colors. Now, if you want exactly my chart colors, just message me and I'll create a document and send it over. All of my colors are custom colors because it's easy for me on the eye. It's based around Japan, so it's got like the cream for the paper doors, and then the green and red are very soft, and I don't know, it just reminds me of Japan. And Japan for me is peaceful. Okay, so every time I am on the charts, I want to be peaceful. Another example is this one. So this is another one that I used and created myself. It's a nice chart. I like it. It's kind of like a video game. So it's just more like your personal preference in terms of what you want your colors to be. There's no right or wrong. I would just very much not have something that is super stimulating and over the top, like some crazy pink background and all the rest of it. All right. So there's that. Okay, first off, what we want to do is we just want to have one chart, okay? So we want to right click and reset the chart. Now you're going to have, by default, you're going to have the volume on here. You can just get rid of that. We don't use that. All right, we can get into the indicators later on as we dive in deeper, but just jump onto the 15-minute, reset the chart. I'm going to remove my drawings just so it's super easy on the eye. And then boom. So this is the toolbar that I use. All right. So we've got the square, we've got the trend line, we've got this is a volume profile. We'll get into that later. We've got the horizontal ray. We have the risk management. I'll leave that on there so you can see. We've got the brush. You probably won't need that. It's more for me when I'm mentoring people. We have the Fibonacci, which will look very different to the default one. Then we have the anchored VWAP, and we have the vertical line. Now, there's a lot of these that I actually don't use, so I'm just going to go and get rid of these. And while I do this, I'm going to show you how you do this, okay? So the vertical line, I use this when I'm kind of charting out a day, but it's not something I use all the time. And screen real estate is very, very important when trading. It's very easy to put multiple lines and boxes and then eventually just be like, bro, what am I looking at, right? What you'll find as you go along is you'll find that you'll start to put lots of things on, and then you'll get to the point where you're overwhelmed. When you're overwhelmed, you need to delete everything and start again, all right? So there's key fundamentals that we'll use within the strategy, but what I want you to do is try and just put the line there and not do multiple lines like this. Try and keep it nice and open, nice and free, and just keep it like minimal, okay, for the most part. But have fun, right? You figure out your own way, you figure out your own source, but this is how I use it, okay? So this is now my favorite bar. So the square is in the brush, so there should be a brush there. If you click that, and then you go to the right of any different tool, you can favorite, right? So let's put this on, path. Now that pops up in my favorite. Now I don't have to do this, okay? I can just simply move this around, have that close to my chart, and then this is what I'm looking to do. The trend line is going to be in the top one, so we favorite that. Horizontal ray is there as well. I'm going to get rid of that one because I don't really use it. The Fibonacci is here, all right? So with the Fibonacci, what you need to do is you need to get into the settings. So you just double click the Fibonacci tool, and then these are the settings. So just pause the video now and then take time to make this exactly the same as mine, all right? Sweet. So now that that's done, what I want you to now do is I want you to start looking at the external liquidity that is on the chart. So this is how I would lay out the external liquidity, is I would create a trend line here. Otherwise my... Okay, now everything's working. Fine. All right, now that that's all set up, what we're going to do is I just want you to quickly look and see the use cases for these. Now, the squares can be used for fair value gaps, right? And what you can do is if you double click it and then figure out what you want, right? So say this is a fair value gap, right? You could put bearish, you can put B dot fair value gap and press enter, then that's going to be in there, right? If you want to change where it is, then you simply just put it inside, bottom, right, whatever it is, center. That's my one though, okay? So that's how I do it. If you want to have this as a template, figure out what you want, then press template and press save. Now for me, I've got these set out already, okay? So I just have to right click, go to template, press 5-minute OB, and then it's going to create this order block, right? So I can see that this is an order block and it's on the 5-minute, right? Beautiful. The second one we're going to use is a trend line. Now, this is for liquidity, this is for support, and what you can do is, right, when you have it, if you hold shift, it will make it straight. So if you want a vertical line and you press shift, then it's going to change, right? And it'll basically change on the angles, okay? If you don't hold shift, then you can have it at whatever angle. So for instance, if you're trying to create some sort of trend line like this, so from this wick to this wick, and you want to see this bounce on it again, then that's how you would do it. If for some reason you are mapping out external liquidity, you would find that wick, right? That's free, then I hold shift and it makes it straight, and then I click and then that's done. Alrighty, so that's how you do that. The horizontal ray is essentially the same thing. However, for me, I like the trend lines better. The reason being the horizontal ray will just continue going past and it'll be infinite, right? Whereas for me, as I said before, my real estate on my chart is very expensive. So I will draw this trend line like this, okay? Then if you want to change it, you want to make it smaller, you click, you hold shift, and you just bring it to wherever you want. Alrighty, and that's how I use trend lines. Now, the Fibonacci, which we will get into in a little bit more at a later video, this is how you place it. You place it from the top to the bottom, and then you'll start to see this start to play out. So you can see that we have the first touch here and rejection, right? And then it came up, retested, flew through the 380, came down, swept it, then it was used as support, tried to come up above this high but couldn't, so dropped below, then used it again, and then these are the touches that we're looking for, these nice wicks to get in on our trades to continue on, right? Just make sure you have all of these levels on there. The rest of the tools are more so for myself, so this is how, you know, I'll explain to someone market structure at a later video. You'll see me use that. In terms of the times, it is essentially the same thing as using the tools. So whatever time frames you've got up here, you can just press this button and start favoriting the ones. Now, this is what I use. I use the daily, the 4-hour, 15-minute, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the 30-second. These are the ones that I'm continually using, so I want to make sure that they're there so I can quickly flick through if needed. Of course, I use the 4 screen so I can then see all of these together and how the market is working with alignment with oneself. Okay, beautiful. So what else do we need to go through? We've went through colors. We'll go through back testing. Now, at this point, you should be fully set up with your trading view. You should have the colors that you like. You should have the tools ready to go, right? All of these should be the same apart from the vertical line. So this is exactly what you should have. Okay, while that keeps staying on, get rid of that. Cool, so that's what you should have, all of these. If you want See, I usually always buy, so I don't really have the short position on there. If you want the short position, just put it on like that, and then you can start to take the short positions with the stop loss above, and obviously the longs are flipped. But I majority of the time I'm buying the Nasdaq as it is a bullish asset, so I just leave the long position on. Totally up to you what you want to do with that one. Alrighty, so once that is all set up, the next thing that I want to go through is replay mode, which we'll do in the next video. All right. If there's any questions that you've got on that, just make sure you send them through and I can make sure that you're fully up to date. But this is how your screen should be looking. For one screen, that's all you need. If you want to have two screens, then you just click this button and you can start adding different screens like so. But look, at this point in your trading, we'll just go through, make it super simple. And that is all you need. Okay, see you in the next video. Peace.